Welcome to the Wing Luke Museum. Within these walls, in our historic and preserved building, the East Gongyik, are the continued legacies of Seattle and Washington's Chinese American experience. Our museum is more. It is dedicated to the stories and lived experiences of over 40 different ethnic groups. Through history, our arrivals here created new stories. But our museum recognizes that our experiences sit squarely on the lands of the Duwamish people. The forced displacement of the Duwamish would be the first of many that removed and displaced people of color from Seattle and our region. Our museum is named for Wing Chong Luke, the first Chinese American city council member of Seattle and the first person of color to ever be elected to the city. The museum holds true to his legacy of equal rights, historic preservation, and the stewardship of stories of real people living their part of the greater American story. Here, in rooms such as this, preserved in time, sparsely decorated and tiny, multiple immigrants and American-born men and some women would share these rooms, save money, send it home, and look for better jobs. It is a time-tested tradition and duty of immigrants and refugees arriving on these shores to support their families in the countries of their birth. At times, second-generation Americans do the same, even as cultures adapted, languages shifted, styles changed, and the demand for representation here at home became the norm. And so throughout our neighborhood, the Chinatown-International District, most laborers from Chinese, Japanese, Filipino, Black, and some white Americans lived, listened to music, fought for justice, and built lasting communities. We are welcoming you to use this 360-degree video to look around several of our current exhibits. And here we are, within our main gallery, honoring our journey, which is one of 13 exhibits in the museum. In this gallery, there are many ways to view the stories of people who settled here and in our region of the country. Because each of us came under very different circumstances. Our communities are not comprised of immigrants alone. In fact, we recognize that while we steward the stories of migration, that our stories are only one part of the American whole. We are a nation of immigrants, yeah, but we are a nation of indigenous peoples, immigrants, refugees, people forced to these shores against their wills, and those of us born here. Along the sidewall, view the timeline of immigration laws and their effects on our people. These are different experiences, but with a shared impact and intent. We recognize that securing our stories in the fabric of our nation, that our nation has repeatedly targeted our communities with removal, racism, stereotyping, and painfully at times with violence. At the south wall is an installation to honor and remember the experiences of Japanese Americans in the Second World War. Toward the north wall, experience the stories of our communities, the jobs they performed, the buildings they built, people who lived the experiences and decided to share those in the museum. Yet despite that course of history, we have each created families and communities who celebrate, stand alone and united, find joy, and grow roots. Those roots were determined to grow. In Seattle and many places in America, our communities were pushed out, property taken, laws enacted that limited where and how we could survive and feed ourselves and our children. Here is our exhibition, Life-Wide Angle Close Up. This is Carina A. Rosario's curatorial expression of her own love for these ethnic enclaves. Through the work of New York's Chinatown Art Brigade, the photography of Dean Wong, and even Andrew Hida's documentary, Carina has challenged audiences to better understand the emotional and soulful connections of people to their homes. Pushed to the margins of cities, attempts to cover our lives in layers of racist stereotypes and entrenched notions of who we are, how we should be seen. The question we have to ask everyone is this: how do you want to be seen? How do you want people to understand why your home is home? Being here is home, and we define how it should look and how we see its beauty. The exhibition Where Beauty Lies explores the nature of beauty for Asian and Pacific Islander Americans. Here in the video, 100 Years of Beauty, we see a progression of style adopted and embraced by Asian Americans in the last century of American life. Exploring the works of local artists and playwrights, guests think about how beauty is often shaped by the people closest to us: friends, parents, partners, siblings, and family members. We may have grown up receiving explicitly negative messages. Other times, lighthearted jokes or passive-aggressive compliments may have implied what simply is just not good enough. As we develop our understanding of cultural norms and their origins, and deepen our compassion for ourselves and others, we can heal from the harm these early messages have done. Revisiting these painful memories, we can move towards better empathizing with those who delivered them, knowing that they too experienced the pain of being judged for their experience and their appearance. Here in the exhibition, entrepreneurs, businesswomen challenge the notion of serving the public, the toxicity of nail products and the respiratory damage they can cause. Demanding to be served by industries that employ thousands of Vietnamese immigrant women, refugee women, is tone deaf, if not uncaring. But it is clear that there are demands for one's own beauty that are more important to some people than the individuals that they can harm. And so simply discussing these forms of discrimination has never been enough for API women. Standing up and speaking out continues to be a long-standing part of the story. Hear Us Rise, APA Voices in Feminism, is the latest exhibition in our New Dialogues initiative. Located in our Welcome Hall and one of the exhibits free for public viewing, New Dialogues is where the museum takes on relevant and timely issues. As the centennial year of women's suffrage in our country, it was critical to place a racial and historical context on that change, that historic change in American history. But where were the voices of Asian American women in that fight? They were present in American cities, but unwelcome in the movement. So where do strong APA feminist voices fit within that greater fabric of history? Simply, everywhere. Explore this exhibition through the lenses of women who fought for social change, for the equality of women. APA women, yes, but as the leaders who built strong ties with women from other ethnic communities, these are the women from whom we learn the meaning of solidarity. Hear their voices rise above the systems of racism and sexism, both from within and outside of APA communities, to demand equality and justice for everyone.